We're talking to Mr. FDubose Jr., and the topic is Vision of Hope, a developmental group that he has created with the idea of helping youth and adolescents. And of course, Brother DuBose, let's see if we can pick up where we left off. But at the same time, I want you to deal with your own career in terms of your entrance into your eventual workstation and how you were able to do in that particular area. Let's talk about it from that perspective.
Okay, I was, when I first started Roadway Express, I started from the bottom level. And during that time, it was very difficult for minorities to get equal opportunity, shall I say, in the transportation industry, because there were a lot of closed doors. So I was able to infiltrate that old network where blacks was left out. So I worked myself up progressively from the bottom level all the way up into human resource manager. So that allowed me an opportunity to be directly responsible for the hiring. So before I took that position as human resource manager, I wanted a commitment from upper management. I wanted them to give me the commitment if indeed you were an equal opportunity employer, and if you're going to hire me to do the job, and then I'm going to make sure we do that. As a result, when I first started with Roadway, we had approximately maybe 1,000 employees there at Roadway in 3 different facilities, and we had a representation of less than 5% minority in all those areas. So I actively went out and did some recruiting and did some training and knocked on doors, giving minorities an opportunity to come on board in the transportation industry. So as a result, over the last 10 years in my career, I brought that representation up to 35% of minorities, which was unheard of during that time, particularly for minorities to get in the transportation industry. So I had to spearhead, and I had to pioneer, and I had to do a lot of things to get us to where we needed to be.
And in a real sense, that's what you're facing now in terms of dealing with these young people. You're trying to, in a real sense, pull them up. Allow them the opportunity or the inspiration in a real sense to understand that whatever you do, it's going to take a little work to do, and sometimes it takes hard work and sometimes unappreciated work, I would imagine you would be able to say.
Absolutely, and one thing as I reflect back on my career, I wish I had someone in a position who was there before I got there who could mentor me. So that's why I want to kind of pave the way and make it a little easier for our youth, to give them some guidance, to mentor them, to show what it's going to take to be successful and from the corporate sector. So that's one of the love and the passions that I had, or that I have now, to work with our youth, because there's still hope. And what we have to do is we have to go out and instill that hope. And then again, we all got to be visionaries. And that's why the vision of hope is so important to me. And I want to be able to share some of those things with our youth.
And do you think that our youth are encouraged enough? You know, I think we often talk about some of the problems that we have with them, that the way they dress, the way they look, and the way they talk, and etc. But do you think that we take the time to give them enough encouragement to try to turn them away from doing some of the things that we consider to be the negative things that are keeping them from succeeding?
I think what we have to do is we have to talk about values. We have to talk about some things in their life to give them some good, true, live examples. And secondly, what we must do, you know, we have voices that we listen to. We listen to everybody else, and we listen to mainly adults driving down things what they should do. And what I try to do is use a different approach. I listen to those teenagers, I listen to our youth, and let them tell me. And then when they tell me about things they want to do, as far as cultural fads and what they want to wear, then I try to find out what's the value of you doing what you're doing. If they don't have any value, then I say we need to reassess where you are. Because once you can get buy-in from the decision-making process from our youth, then generally they accept change a little readily.
And that's one of the most important things that we can do for them now, is to at least encourage them and try to bring them around. Now, Mr. Obama, I think, has done quite a bit in terms of trying to reach out to young people. And do you think that that will, in the end, help what you're trying to do?
Absolutely, absolutely. What we have to do, we have to keep striving on some of the programs, or all the programs that Obama is really doing, President Obama is doing, to kind of help our youth. But see, that has to do with education. See, I think education is the key to success. And we have to take the time to educate, continuously educate on a daily, on a monthly basis, and it's going to require community involvement, total community involvement in the education process.
Now, your developmental groups, these, how do you, I heard you mention one time that one of the most important things is to recognize that many of these young people might not finish high school or might not wish to go to college and et cetera, that there ought to be some kind of alternative for them. Speak to that. I think that you mentioned that.
Okay, that's a very interesting point. And the name development group, youth development group, you know, it was designed that way for flexibility aspects. Now, another thing that you mentioned up about high school dropout rate, and it was kind of alarming. I was reading some statistics. Here in Tennessee, the age group from 18 to 24 that's incarcerated now, I think it's a percentage of 75 to 80% of high school dropouts. So we need to look at reevaluating and reassessing our systems and look and see what we're going wrong, because if we keep doing things the same way, then results are going to stay the same. So we got to be able to be out of the box thinkers. We got to be creative, we got to be innovative, and we got to do things a little different. And those are some of the things that with vision and hope that we're trying to work on, and we're trying to stress, and we're working on that on a daily basis.
Well, now what do, and of course we're going to have our second commercial break, and then we'll come back for the final segment, and we'll have an opportunity to perhaps develop this. But the people that you're working with, what do they feel in terms of your own vision? I mean, are these people connected with you in terms of your vision? Are you all on the same pages, do you believe?
You know, that's one of the principles that I learned from the corporate sector. You know, we must get buy-in. We must have equal input from everybody. Everybody likes to be heard, and we like to have what we call the equal voice concept. You know, depending on the value you bring to the table, and it's easy to just talk and not have any value. So we look at the value because we want to step beyond or approach where we are now.
Okay, and of course I think we're getting ready for the second commercial break in about 8 or 10 seconds, and then we'll come back and we'll give you an opportunity to do that during that last segment. And of course we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.